Welcome, Jane Getting. How are you going today?
Doing great, Marty. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to chat. I'm just loving talking to people about their journey. It's really hard to explain what we do with data-driven fasting and nutrient optimizer. They go, what is it? What's it like? What can I compare it to? It's like, it's really just sort of hard to explain. So it's great to just get people on to have a chat
Mhm.
about their actual journey and see how our analysis and systems come to life in real life people. And it's so rewarding to hear those stories and get to capture them and share them for other people to get a feel for what this is all about. So yeah, you did data driven fasting in January, and then our recent masterclass, and you've stepped up to be a moderator for a data driven fasting group and part of the wonderful community. We're just finishing off the challenge with 836 people, and it's just been a really lovely, warm community. So everybody's said how cool it is. Just enjoyed being a part of the community. So thank you for contributing to that, and we really really value that. So yeah.
My pleasure. My pleasure,
Um.
Marty.
So how did you come to all this? How did you stumble into the world of nutritional optimization? What's your little backstory and
Okay.
motivation and your why?
So, I've always struggled with my weight off and on over the decades,
Decades.
to be honest. And I did Weight Watchers for, gosh, a couple decades even,
Wow.
but I was always hungry. Now, I
Yeah.
had success on Weight Watchers. I did lose
Yep.
weight.
Yep.
Um, they asked me to be a spokesperson, but I said no because I thought I could reach more people because I worked in the medical field,
Yeah.
and it would be a conflict of interest if I worked for them. I felt,
Right. Right.
but I was always hungry.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I started exploring other avenues because Weight Watchers just wasn't doing it for me.
Yep.
And I was listening to public radio, and
Wow.
Nina Teicholz
Yep.
was on when her book came out. And I
Yeah.
was getting ready for work one day, and my husband at the time was also doing Weight Watchers with me, but he had high blood pressure,
Wow.
prediabetes, IBS, eczema,
Hmm.
um, and high cholesterol. And as they were doing this book review, I came running out of the bathroom. I said, I've got us a new mission. And so we kind of jumped onto the low
Yep.
carb, high fat bandwagon.
Yep.
Um, Fortunately for my husband, all of his medical issues improved within 3 months.
Wow.
Resolved, I should say.
That's
Resolved,
great. That's
which
exciting.
was astounding to us. But it still wasn't enough for me. I
Mm.
All the fat intake was
Yep.
just troublesome for me. So then we tried to go to carnivore.
Yep.
My husband actually is still carnivore, and I'm not.
Yep.
I tried intermittent fasting and extended fasting.
Mm.
I tried measuring my ketones over the years. I've listened to over 100 podcasts of
Mm.
a variety of researchers, and I've always followed the medical literature
Mm.
over the years working in medicine. I looked back in my records. I've been following you since 2017.
I saw a
Um,
little thing pop up on my Facebook the other day. It's been 6 years since I started the Optimizing Nutrition blog. So it's been didn't quite understand it and take over my life the way it has, but it's
yeah,
been a hell of a
but
fun
what a
journey.
great thing for us that it
Yeah.
has taken over your life.
I'm just chuffed when people want to listen. So yeah, just keep on digging down the rabbit holes.
Um, so I followed a whole bunch of researchers. My husband and I actually traveled across the United States maybe a half dozen times to go to low carb conferences,
Yep. Yep.
but most of the time they were also focused on the higher fat. And I have come to the realization that I was just getting too much fat.
Mm. Mm.
And the by the time data driven fasting came, this recent challenge in January, we're coming
Mm.
off of a year of COVID, which wasn't
Mm.
good for us. And
Wasn't
I
good
had
for
a
many people at all.
I had a drug reaction about a year ago. And
Wow.
so I had trouble exercising for a good 6 or 8 months.
Yep.
And it just was the turning point for me. And I'm like, I've been assimilating all this scientific information. I've tried a lot of things. I'm just going to go back to what I think I understand and
Yep.
logically makes sense.
Yeah.
And
It's
so I
amazing how
started
all the
data-driven
knowledge and
fasting.
understanding and learning, head knowledge often doesn't translate into action and results. It takes time to train your lizard brain through repetitive steps and little tiny habits. And that's, Alex loves tiny habits, and we build
Mhm,
everything around just building tiny habits that make the retrain your
mhm.
lizard brain,
Right,
basically.
right. It's kind of funny you would say that because I think I said this once to you before. Even working in medicine, it's hard for the medical community to change.
Mm,
Even with the science that comes out, change is hard for human beings.
mm, mm,
And deviating from the current norm
mm,
puts you as an outlier.
mm,
And so then you have to worry about not fitting in. You have to worry
mm,
about reimbursement here in America. You have to worry
mm.
about the litigious aspect of it because you're not doing what everybody else is doing. And it
Yeah.
just takes so long for um, the medical community to come around. And
Mm,
during my practice years, I had diabetic patients and I would just hate to put them on insulin. I
mm.
would hate it. They hated it too, but I
Yeah, nobody
hated
seems
doing
to like
that.
going on insulin because injected insulin tends to lead to increased appetite and often
Exactly. And weight
worsening
gain.
weight gain.
Yes, and worsening diabetes.
Mm,
Exactly.
mm.
And so, as I'm processing all of this for years, I finally data-driven fasting came up in January, and I'm like, I'm just going to do this. And
You really jumped in all in, didn't you?
I did
You
both
sent me a
eat and
spreadsheet at
never
the
look
end that
back.
I don't think I'd heard from you, and I didn't look at it for ages until I finally got to do the analysis, and I went, "Holy dooly, this lady smashed it!" It was like, man, off the chart, and you're the top of the leaderboard. I should show off your I'll show off some photos. So that was your before and after that you
Hmm.
shot me. You're very proud looking and
Hmm.
standing top of the leaderboard with 2.5% weight loss per week. 17 pounds difference, 11% body fat in 4 weeks, which is absolutely insane. 8% body fat loss. And maybe
Hmm.
we can talk about those charts later of what they mean and how that all
Hmm.
works. But yeah, it's just nice to see that you followed the process and nailed
Yeah.
it.
And I got to tell you that in January, that's what I did. I tested in the morning. I tested, before I thought I was hungry, and I ate most of the time below my trigger, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken. Um,
yeah.
and
I
I,
think
I didn't overthink it. I didn't overthink it. And that was the beauty of it.
there were
It
a few
melted
times
off.
when you did eat over trigger, but it doesn't matter that much. It's not it's progress over perfection. But
Right.
yeah, but that's a really important thing. Overthinking it for myself as well. You have all this knowledge, but you're really fighting against your lizard brain, and it's hard to
Hmm.
tell how much is just your subconscious who wants to keep you alive, rationalizing all these different things and negotiating to give you what you want to survive rather than what's necessarily healthy for you. So hopefully, yeah, it's nice when those two things come together as well. When
Hmm.
survival and giving your body what it needs is also healthy for you and beneficial. So that's what we
Hmm.
try to do.
Hmm.
Yeah. So how
Hmm.
did you overcome the overthinking? You just followed the process and
I
let
just
go.
followed the process and I just had faith. I truly just had faith and learning when to eat so that in the evenings I wasn't even hungry because I had learned what hunger really was, what
Yeah.
what hunger was for me.
Mm,
And I think that everybody's journey will be different because we're
mm.
all different human beings. But it was so easy. It was so simple. It was amazing. Um,
Do I
I
need to refuel? Yes, no. Okay, cool. It's
Yeah,
just a yes, no
exactly.
decision.
And I treasure our community in DDF. I treasure it, and I'm still learning so much from people. And people are so smart. They come with backgrounds like I have, who I have been analyzing all this medical literature, scientific studies, and still it took me years to come to terms with it, processing it and practicing it. And I see all these smart people in our DDF group, and I sometimes I just want to say, just take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. Just test when you're hungry. Eat below trigger. That's all you have to focus on right now.
Yep.
And I was there too. I
Yeah.
wanted things to happen overnight, but I didn't get this way overnight, and I don't expect DDF to fix it overnight. I'm excited and enthusiastic to have progress, but part of the journey is making these, like you said, little habits that are going to last a lifetime and
Because
have
the harder
profound
you push it,
impact.
the more your body rebels and wants to binge and rebound, and then you feel like a failure, and then that inner psyche just
Yep.
collapses, and you stall and you go, I can't do this, it's not for me, and give up. But we just say, I know you want to lose everything in the first week, but let's just take it slowly and go down slowly. So we should look at your chart. So this, to explain to people, this is your weight on this axis versus your pre-meal blood sugar. So in the first 3 days of baselining, you test before you eat normally, eat whatever you normally do, and then record your blood sugar before it. And we get a 3-day baseline, which is the average of those first 3 days. And then as you move forward and successfully test and eat below your current trigger, that just continually drops. And it's like a little, we say chase the trigger. It's like a moving target. It's like the carrot in front of the donkey that just leads it a little bit further ahead each time without falling off a cliff of, let's do an extended fast when you eat 10 times a day from McDonald's. It's just, let's take a tiny change. And you can see, the blue line is the trigger, the orange line is your weight, and they followed fairly lockstep together, which is amazing. And then your waist to height ratio, it's just the same line. It's, the amount of energy stored in your body fat, your waist measurement is so correlated with your blood sugar. It's just the perfect fuel gauge that really give people, it calms the lizard brain, and it seems to attack your body fat. That's the great thing I've seen. People keep saying, how does this work so well for my waistline and my body fat? Maybe I don't lose a lot of weight, but it just seems to target that part of your body that most people want to get rid of.
Fully agree.
Yeah.
And easy. It was just so easy, Marty. It really was. That's just the beauty of DDF, is it's just simple and easy. And I felt like things just melted off.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. We've got a million people ask a million questions, and not a million. We've got 100 frequently asked questions that we've written up in the manual and share with people, and try to answer everybody's questions to understand how it works. But just following the system that does work just tends to work better when you don't overthink it. You throw yourself off. So, and then you came into the masterclass. How did the masterclass complement DDF? We tend to say, masterclass is a great place. Data-driven fasting is a nice place to start because it's fairly simple, like you say. But eventually, when you eat's important, but eventually what you eat becomes important as well. So if you're coming from a high-fat keto approach, a lot of people find they get their blood sugars to be stable, but they're not losing weight because they're tipping in a whole lot of fuel into their fat fuel tank, and even while their glucose tank is low. So that dialing in what you eat to maximize satiety, like you talk about, you can do Weight Watchers, you can lose weight, but if you're always hungry, it's never going to last. So you have to find a sustainable way to lose weight that you can maintain and enjoy, and you're not continually plagued with hunger. So, masterclass, how did you find that experience?
So the masterclass it's intense. I'm not going to lie. It's really intense. But it was a beautiful mental challenge.
Yep.
One of the things I found is Each week we had a new focus, and
Mm.
I felt that by the end of the week, I just was starting to get the hang of it, and you changed the plan. So
Um,
I kind of always felt a step behind.
and there's a
And
lot
that's
to cover in 6 weeks, but we sort of wanted to, it needs to be
yeah,
6 weeks long, and people keep coming back in again and again and go, oh, this is
yeah,
great, but there's so much I didn't get. I need to come back
yes,
again, and yeah, which
yes,
is
yes,
cool. You only need to.
yeah.
Most
And
people
I'm
just
going
need
to
to
go
get to
again.
that week 2 of picking up. If I prioritize protein, I'm not hungry,
Mhm,
and then
mhm,
dialing in fat, carbs, and
mhm,
micronutrients. It's
mhm.
just the icing on the cake from there.
Right, right. I really liked the lesson on carbs. I really, really liked the lesson on fats. But when we got to those micronutrients and I had to learn how to figure out that puzzle, that that was a fun challenge.
Yep.
But when I figured some of those things out, I was shocked. I was literally shocked at little tiny tweaks, a little addition of this or
Yep.
that, and
Yep.
how amazing I felt when,
Really?
and I'm talking
Wow.
physically amazing. I felt like I was um, Superwoman.
Wow.
Seriously, it was incredible. It was incredible.
Cool.
And I don't know if you're still following me, but I am still working on it. I'm trying to look at it every day.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I lost, well, from my records, I think I lost another 11 pounds during the
Wow.
master class.
Wow.
Um,
And what did she lose 17 in data driven
yep.
fasting?
And then
Oh,
this last DDF, I think I've only lost about 6.
okay.
But
Well, you're pretty much getting to where you need to be, I think.
I know I'm almost there. But what I want to say is I am going to take a break. I'm
Yep.
actually looking forward. I switched to maintenance in
Yep.
DDF because I'm listening to you and I'm trusting the process. When you're getting too focused, you need to just take a step back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to take a step back and I'm just going to maintain now during our I'm going to stay on maintenance and maintain during these couple week breaks.
Yep.
And I might even just moderate the next DDF. I haven't quite decided yet.
Yep.
I might actually participate too.
Yep.
But I'm definitely going to do the masterclass again because I want
Cool.
to cement those things that I
Yep.
learned in.
Yep.
But I'm going to do DDF again at some
Mm.
point, if not in April.
Mm.
Um, again, I have those last 10 pounds, and I think you even said it once, the closer you get to your goal, a little bit
Mm.
harder it is.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. People find the weight
Yeah,
just
and
falls
I
off
think I'm there.
initially, and
I think
yeah,
I'm there, so I just need to take a little break. And I'm
and
okay with that because I'm at a good spot.
and practicing maintaining losing weight, you can inject a whole lot of focus for a while, but then actually maintaining it and not rebounding it
Mhm,
is even harder, and most people fail at it. So just to
mhm,
find that with the DDF app, we just guide people to track occasionally, weigh yourself occasionally, and if you find yourself going up, the new maintenance trigger will drop. And if you find yourself going up too much, you can jump back in and go again. And when you
mhm,
get to that point where you're not food focused and stressed and
mhm,
anxious
mhm,
anymore, and your lizard brain settles back down and goes, "Yeah, I'm
mhm.
chilled with this weight. Let's go again." And you can
Right.
keep on pounding away to your goal. And definitely in the
Mhm,
everything I hear in the bodybuilding sphere is like you need those diet breaks, and the long
mhm,
term success of reaching a goal depends on being able to practice those interim
mhm.
periods of maintenance. You can't just keep on hammering forever because if you drop,
Correct.
you'll bounce back up.
Correct. That's how I feel too. I feel the
Yeah,
exact same way.
great.
And
Yeah,
so
I love to.
I've chosen to switch to maintenance already, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm just going to maintain here. Hmm.
That's great. Congratulations. I
Yeah,
love to hear the effects of dialing in your micronutrients. That's really
yeah,
exciting.
incredible. It was astounding to me. I saw you put out that survey, and somebody says, "What surprised you the most?"
Yeah.
In the master class, that was probably the single biggest surprise that caught me totally off guard.
And what
Totally
changed?
off guard.
What did you feel? What did you dial? What micronutrients did you dial in, and what were you
Um,
lacking? And what was the response when you fixed it?
I was lacking vitamin E. I was lacking vitamin D. I was
Yep.
lacking zinc.
Yep. Zinc would be a very
Um,
big one, I think, for you.
and then the B vitamins were a little easier to
Mm,
adjust. You know, I
mm,
wasn't as low in them,
mm,
and they were easier to tweak. Um, so those were my real big ones for the most part.
mm.
What did I feel? I felt um, I felt more alert. I felt like I was sleeping better. I felt that I had incredible energy. Um, it just it radiated from me.
Wow.
Literally, I felt like it radiated from me.
Yeah. And when you're
It was
feeling
incredible.
energized, you're not seeking out food because, when the whole satiety
Exactly.
micronutrient analysis shows that we keep seeking out food, and it's not just protein, but we look for all the potassium and zinc and selenium and
Mhm.
everything in our diet, and we keep on eating until we get enough. So if we can pack more nutrients without too much energy, then
Right.
you feel energized, use your own body fat for fuel, and you get on
Mhm.
with feeling great
Mhm.
and being
Right.
active. You don't have to worry
And
about this
so
metabolic
satiated.
slowdown.
I was so satiated. Like, it was incredible. Like, I felt like I could have, gone on a 10 mountain trek and not eaten a thing. It was incredible.
Even though you're losing weight that quickly.
Even though I'm losing weight still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Weight
Yeah.
Watchers. Oh wow!
Yeah.
So what foods did you eliminate? What foods did you decide through DDF and the masterclass that they don't work for me anymore? You were saying the
Oh,
added fat,
so
chasing ketones.
I quit adding all fats, and I'm choosing fats, that natural occurring fats like salmon and the hemp heart
Mm,
seeds.
mm,
Um, uh, Very few nuts. Like, I might use a Brazil nut for selenium, and a few almonds for crunch and my
yep.
natural fat.
Nice. Nice.
But I don't have a whole handful
Yeah.
because I have so many other things in my food that I couldn't eat a whole handful if I wanted to. There would be no room. Um,
That's
the
cool.
the other thing I found was how much food I was eating and
Yeah.
still losing weight. It was
Like
incredible.
the volume of the food you're eating.
Volume of food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
You don't feel
surprised
like you're
me.
in a diet. They go, "What the hell is it?
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
diet food.
Exactly.
I can't fit it
Exactly.
all in."
Exactly. Um, I did I eliminated all fruit,
Okay.
and I know that some people won't like to hear that, but for me, it just skyrockets my glucose, like
Mm,
skyrockets it.
wow.
And I so I eliminated additional fats, I eliminated fruits, I eliminated wine for the most part.
Yep.
I did have wine one night in the 3 months. It just didn't sit well with me.
Okay.
It just didn't, and
What?
I
Why is
haven't
that?
tried
You
it
didn't
since.
feel good the next day, or you thought you were drinking too much, or
Did I drink too much? Probably I did. But it just didn't taste good.
oh,
It
really?
just didn't. Yeah, it's like and I know that people tend to drink maybe not as healthy choices when they have alcohol.
Yeah.
Um, I've always been a wine lover.
Mm.
I don't drink every day. I don't even drink every week, but um, I have a great wine cellar. But for some reason, it just doesn't taste. It just wine just doesn't taste good to me anymore.
Maybe
And
body
that's
say,
I guess that's not a bad thing, you
I don't
know?
need those nutrients. I don't need what that's giving
Yeah,
me anymore, and I can move on. That's a
yeah,
cool
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that,
I cut out all snacking, like no snacking at night, except
yeah.
for the night I had wine. I did have some kettle corn,
Yep.
which didn't help. Um, but no snacking and not even, healthy snacks. There's just nothing. I just
Yeah.
have no desire to snack whatsoever.
Wow.
None. Yeah,
DDF quickly smashes the
it
snacking habit.
really did. Yep,
Yeah.
it really did. Mhm.
Once you can see your blood glucose and you're chasing a lower trigger, you realize that that snack comes with a price.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So
I
what?
am hoping when I'm a little bit more metabolically flexible, I would like to
Yeah.
try oatmeal sometime with egg,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just to see what happens. But,
Yeah.
I cut oatmeal out, a couple of years ago, if not even many years ago,
Mm,
um,
mm.
between intermittent and extended fasting and carnivore and
Yep.
low carb. I haven't had oatmeal in maybe a decade.
Yeah. I think carnivore can be really useful to as an elimination diet to drop everything out that could be inflammatory and have an autoimmune response. And then you can go, okay, I want to try that food. It'll give me the nutrients I need. Let's try it, see how I respond, see how I feel. Does it make me feel good? What is it?
Yep.
Maria Kondo, does this bring me joy? No. Throw? Yes. Keep?
Exactly.
I think that's a good philosophy. She's cool. So, what was the hardest thing about all this? Is there anything that was difficult? It sounds like it was too easy to be true.
So, with DDF, there was nothing that was hard whatsoever. Nothing. Until this past week. Until this past week.
I find that hard to believe. Come on. No hunger, you're satiated.
There was nothing about DDF that was hard until this past week when I was having trouble reaching my trigger. Yep. And I think it's all psychological. And I just decided to take that break.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
when you get stressed, when you get stressed, it can mess with the system, and your stress itself over chasing a trigger will raise your blood sugars. So at that point, you just need to take a mental break, give your brain a de-stress and back off for a while, and you can always come back later once you've practiced maintenance for a while. But you really should celebrate the amazing progress you've made. And,
absolutely. I'm very pleased with the progress I've had. Incredible. Thanks to you and Alex. So.
How do you feel now than before? What do people say when they see you?
People are shocked when they see me.
You come out of lockdown a different person.
Basically, yeah. I think I'm down total 36 pounds or 38 pounds total since January, since we started. Yeah, that's huge.
Wow, that is huge.
Yeah. So it feels fabulous.
After decades of trying to find the magic bullet.
Yeah. And I'm shocked at how quickly it happened. I never expected it to happen that quickly.
Once you gave your body what it needed, when it needed.
Exactly. And like I said, it melted off. It literally, I felt like it melted off. It was incredible.
I love this. Well, I'm not paying you to say this, so I didn't give you this.
You are not paying me a thing. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I've offered to pay you money for your program and you won't let me. What is wrong with this, Marty?
I just said, help out in the community. That's what we really need. Anyway.
And I'm going to do that. And I'm honored to do that.
So what are you learning from maintenance? That's another challenge. Do you have any tips, or you're still learning?
I think I'm still too new into it right now. To offer any tips.
Yep.
Maybe I'll have more tips the next, DDF when someone wants to go into maintenance. So I really can't say too much. I've just been on it a couple days. So far, so good. I'm still trying to keep my, without focusing intensely, I'm still trying to let everything go, but still trying to keep my head level. And it's fairly easy. It's fairly easy, but I don't have any good tips on.
Yeah.
I think it's a culmination of all the things you've taught me.
Hopefully all the habits that you've learned since January will sort of continue, because we're not just throwing you into here's a 30-day meal plan and you have to hit 600 calories below your maintenance, and at the end you've lost weight, but then you've learned nothing about how to eat. You've learned nothing about how to plan, prepare food. What do you enjoy? What do you hate? And you go, I really hate these foods. I want my wine and nuts and bulletproof coffee again, and it's all over. And then you feel like a failure, and that's a really bad place to be.
Yep, I agree. And thankfully, I'm not there. So
yeah, no, we don't. We don't really care how much weight you lose during the process, but we want you to learn how to. You want to come out of it with knowledge and. Not just knowledge, but experience and habits that you can continue with over the long term. So
exactly.
We're not the biggest loser, although I don't know. You might qualify for the leaderboard on the biggest loser at the rate you've gone. Anyway, so maybe unless anybody else listening's got any other questions to throw in, yeah, what advice would you give for people starting out? Like, from what advice would you give Jane in New Year's Day in January?
I would say, I would tell Jane to trust the process and not overthink things.
Mm,
DDF is just straightforward and simple and easy,
mm,
and don't make it harder than it needs to be, because you
mm,
have plenty of time to do that.
mm,
Once you figure out when to eat, you have plenty of
mm,
time to figure out all the complexities around the food.
mm. Yeah, what to eat is definitely the next part of the equation, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody, what do I eat first up? And it's like, no, just don't overwhelm yourself, because too much
Right,
information all at once, too many changes, you'll
right,
off,
exactly.
you won't get the success you will. So let's get that first part. Let's get the ball rolling, and then you can go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm cool now. I'm not mentally overloaded. I'm ready for the next part of the puzzle that we try to just unravel over time. We try to lead people down the path from where they are now to where they need to be. It's a journey towards optimal, not, let's get you there immediately
Mm-hmm.
and tell you everything, teach you everything, and then go implement these 50 things that you just learnt in your head. You'll never implement it in your life. You'll just be
Right.
confused, overwhelmed, and fail.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Right.
So any other tips for Jane 3 months ago?
So 3 months ago, those would be my biggest tips. Keep it simple. Just learn when to eat. That's all you need to do. And as painful it is for these intelligent people who are so enthusiastic and exciting, I would tell them all over again, just learn when to eat.
Yeah.
That is half your battle right there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
once you get that down, then you can learn about what to eat.
Yeah.
And that's where the masterclass is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
People think the data-driven fasting app is pretty cool, but then Nutrient Optimizer is a
Mhm.
whole new rabbit hole that we've just thrown
Mhm.
everything to it, and now we're just trying to simplify it and make it
Mhm.
easier, because we know things like Twitter are very simple. Instagram, it works because it's
Mhm.
very, so we just try to
Mhm.
continually refine it to make it simpler and simpler for
Mhm.
people to
Mhm.
not fall off. So,
Another
so
thing I learned, Marty, was to dial back my exercise,
okay.
which surprised me. It's one of those
Mm,
surprising things. Um, and my heart goes out to our community who I understand um, the endorphins that are released with high intensity interval training.
mm,
I used to be an aerobics queen instructor. I was all about HIIT.
yep.
And I think that resistance training is where it's at.
Mm,
Keep your lean body mass
yep.
and limited. Do resistance training to failure 2 days a week, and that's it. And the
Yeah.
rest of the days doing really low intensity exercise, because
Yeah.
it astounded me at how much it improved my blood sugars.
Yeah.
You know, psychologically, you think high intensity will, burn more calories, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
It releases all that glucose,
Yeah. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and it's hard on your body.
Yeah. Yeah, we think that more masochistic pain is better, whether it be extended fasting or high intensity bursts. But like you say, that leaves you on this bit of a blood sugar roller coaster from the
Mm-hmm.
glucose released, and then that crashing effect. You then go, I'm hungry. I need to eat now. I don't care what my
Mm-hmm.
blood sugar is, and you're falling
Mm-hmm.
off the wagon. But just that steady state, low intensity, lots of walking, where you can still breathe
Exactly.
easily. It trains your
Mm-hmm.
body to burn fat. So yeah, definitely that's an amazing pro tip from
Mm-hmm.
low intensity and resistance training, and stay out of that gray zone in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Right. That was a revelation for me
Mm.
after all these decades. So
Doing
it was
aerobics.
it was good. I'm happy to learn it finally. Some
Which,
people are slower than others.
what would you tell Jane 40 years ago?
I don't know if Jane would have believed me 40 years ago.
I'm Jane from the
You know,
future. Maybe I could go, but Marty, Back to the Future. Anyway, don't worry. That joke. Anything else you wanted to add? This has been really fun and really great to hear your
Um,
journey, and just it's been great to meet everybody.
it has been an amazing journey. I'm so thankful to you and Alex. I can't say that enough. I
Mm.
am so thankful for our amazing community.
Mm.
Our moderators are so knowledgeable. I still, even as I've volunteered to be a moderator, I'm still learning things from our moderators. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Just the greatest. Optimizing nutrition is the greatest.
Oh wow.
And you do not pay me to say that, Marty. You do not.
Yeah, we definitely value the community. I keep saying all the systems and knowledge and analysis is nothing without the community to bring it alive.
Mm-hmm,
People who have
mm-hmm,
been on that journey and are still on that journey and can then share with the people who, you are a great teacher for somebody for Jane 3 months ago,
mm-hmm,
where somebody who's been doing it for 5 years forgets what it was like. So it's just great to continue to grow the community with
mm-hmm,
new people who have done it, to focus on the new people that are coming in
mm-hmm,
and take them on the journey that they learnt a month ago. So yeah.
mm-hmm.
Cool. It's yes. Thank you so much for the chat. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for agreeing to
My
do this.
pleasure, Marty. My
Thanks for all your
pleasure.
support. Yeah. Cool. Have a great day, and
You too.
thank you so much. See you,
Okay.
Jane. Bye.
Bye-bye.